Hello everyone, this is Mayan. Today I watched the video of the Yasmin group. From their video I learned about the activity they introduced is spinning wheel activity. I think this activity is suitable for beginners and the intermediate English learner because for beginner English learner, using this activity can increase their interest in learning English. Most of the English beginners need more encouragement from the teacher. I think this activity is such as a good tool for teacher to encourage student to learn the English language. For the intermediate English learner, this activity can also help them to have a deeper impression of the knowledge taught by the teacher in the classroom. The next question is, will I use this activity in the future classroom? I think I will use this activity in future classroom because this spinning wheel activity is very useful in classroom. It can bring a great interest to every students in the classroom, no matter what the stage the learner is in, and the activity can increase teacher communication with students in the classroom. For the students, using this activity can make students more deeply remember the knowledge taught by the teacher in the classroom. That's all. Thank you.
Hello there, in this diddly good day I will be talking about Yasmin's group online teaching plan and giving my self-commentary. Well, firstly I'll be talking on whether I agree on the activities that they have listed inside the teaching plan. Well, I would like to say it is a really well-made activity section since it has a discourse, a practice time, discussion time, and a closure that by itself will also encourage the students to talk. Well, I'll say first, they focus on speaking and listening skills, and the activity listed for it is very appropriate since they'll be having discussions. Students will be able to hear their own classmates talk and describe the topic that they had been picked for using the spinning wheel. And having the spinning wheel itself, to my opinion, is a very great way to attract their attention towards you wanting to participate in this classroom, which I think it's very good. And aside from being viable in an online type of teaching, this way is also very suitable for a face-to-face one, but I'll be elaborating that more on my next part, which is after this. Okay, I'll want to say they have a closure which will attract the students' attention, and they have a time in which the students will be able to discuss with each other on the topic given and have the students be more attentive towards it. And having the spinning wheel also helps in increasing this attentiveness and participation in the classroom, because I've watched your video on the spinning wheel and I would like to say I love the idea of using the spinning wheel inside an online teaching classroom type of way. So aside from those, having them being stimulated visually using the spinning wheel and auditorily by the teacher speaking is a very good activity to be made. And aside from those, I also very agree on dividing the students into two groups and only having two topics chosen from the spinning wheel itself, because your time of teaching is very limited, and having them divided into two groups and giving them pre-given topics to talk about will make them less nervous, less pressured, and more participating inside here, because they have plenty of time to think on what they would like to say on the topic or term they had been picked for that group itself. It's very time saving and less anxiety inducing towards the students themselves, and I think it's a very good activity just because of this fact alone. And having the closure of asking the students on whether what they think on this teaching plan itself is also a good move, since the students will be able to give response to the teacher appropriately, and the teacher will be able to approach and give a better lesson in the future, since the students already given the weakness that you might have missed from this activity itself. Aside from thinking this activity is a bit hard on crowd controlling your classroom, I think it's a very, very good activity from all the ones I've read and the ones that have been listed. And yeah, that's all. In conclusion, I just agree on I like the listing of the activity plan that was made for this teaching plan. Then now I'll be talking about theory-wise for the teaching plan. I will not be touching any longer on constructionism itself. No. I'll be talking on other theories that also I think is applicable to explain their teaching plan. What is the theory I think is suitable for this teaching plan? It is the 3 famous approaches, which is awareness, second, appropriateness, and thirdly, autonomy. Why do I think all of this is applicable inside this teaching plan itself? Like, for example, what is awareness really? Awareness is when we make the students aware of the subject and have their consciousness think of the subject itself, which is the main role of a discourse. And they listed a discourse that I think is very appropriate already. Well, secondly, on appropriateness. Appropriateness is basically assistance from the teacher itself in assisting the students in learning itself, as they become a scaffold for the students themselves, since it will be making them become from other dependent to be self-dependent. And this is very evident, pun not intended, in when the teacher helps the students when there is time of discussion, where they help the students to answer any befuddlement inside and help them guide to have a better way of knowing this type of learning process or activity. Thirdly, I'll say they heavily focus a lot on autonomy from the 3 approaches, since they use constructionism. Well, autonomy is basically when they are more independent and they think by themselves independently, and they need to come up with things spontaneously on the spot without any practice. And this can very much be seen heavily done when they need to do sentences from the terms they've been given on the spot, and they have absolutely no idea whatsoever that this was the term before. Thus, they need to be independent and strong in order to express their ideas and come up with sentences on the spot. And that's why I think the theory of appropriate autonomy is very heavily on this teaching plan, very used. So that's all on theory wise on I think that's applicable for this teaching plan. See you next time.